Jade Hewitt, welcome to the Sport Profile.
How you doing, Dylan? I'm so pumped to be here.
I'm fantastic. I am so curious about your perception of, we were just talking about how, like, I took a break for the last 5 years. 5 years ago, when I was kind of like generating guests and such, I never really thought of like social media or create like sports creatives to include. And obviously
Mhm.
now that's such like an integral fabric of the sports
Yeah,
landscape.
yeah.
How have how has your kind of perception of that changed over the last 5 years?
Man, it's crazy. Social media has just it changes. You don't notice as it's happening, but then you look back on 5 years ago, 10 years ago when I got into pro softball, and you're like, it's insane how much it has changed. And like we thought social media was important then, but now like social media
But
is
did
just like
we?
its own complete monster. And it's just wild. And I feel like especially in the last couple years, creatives are really feeling empowered to share about themselves and share what they know. And people are pretty fearless when it comes to like buying into their own brand, buying into the brand that they work for. Like in the brands I work for, it's like I'm like, let's go 100 miles an hour, and I just feel like with each passing year, more and more creatives are just really finding their own voice on social, not necessarily their team voice, their organization voice, but really finding out about themselves and what they stand for. And it's awesome. I mean, like, it's literally incredible.
Yeah, especially because like I mean, for lack of better phrasing, like 5 years ago, that prioritization just was not the case.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel like it was more of just only kind of maybe sharing your work or sharing your work on behalf of the organization. It didn't really seem like it was necessarily what can I bring to the table as far as me and my voice. It was just kind of what can I bring to the table as far as just my work and kind of my work alone.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It's more now about like showcasing the creative as an individual, as opposed to the like what you're doing for the team
Right.
in or organization in that sense.
Yeah,
There's
and I feel
more
like,
there's more
yeah, yeah,
individuality
yeah.
to it.
Yeah, and now as well, I feel like again with kind of each passing year, I feel like there's a little bit less gatekeeping in the creative community, and it's
Mm.
more about sharing. Like I want to share what I know, and if that helps two people, then that's amazing. And I look at photographers that I admire, and they might post a really great photo, and they'll be like, "This is the lens I used," and I'm like, "That's really helpful to know." Like it's just it's such a sharing, it can be such a sharing community and open community. And that's one of the pieces of it where I find the most joy, and where I try to really use my voice to just share and like teach in a way for anyone that could find it useful.
Totally. Which leads me to a very interesting question about the photography community and, sports photographers especially. Do you feel that the gear makes the photo or the person makes the photo?
Oh, that's such a big question.
I know it is. That's why I asked it, and because you were just talking about your lenses and how
Yeah.
people not gatekeeping lenses is helpful for you.
Yeah, it's a healthy mix of both. I think anyone that tells you it's all one or the
That's
other
such the
is,
safe answer.
yeah, I don't really feel like that's accurate at all. It might be like the safe route to be like, no, it's all about the shooter. And it's like, well, if you gave me a Canon Rebel to go out and shoot, and then you also gave me a R1 to go out and shoot, while they do both do the same thing, there is obviously a quality difference, right?
Totally.
And I think we would be a little silly to kind of pretend like that doesn't really exist. To me, though, the if I had to lean one way, it's the person, and I say that because the relationships I have with athletes are what have cultivated and molded and created these beautiful images that I get to take. And so, I mean, literally yesterday, we're standing there pregame, And 2 or 3 years ago, I took this silhouette shot of Aaliyah Andrews, right? And I've gotten to shoot Aaliyah Andrews for years and years, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And we've done that, and that was kind of like a big shot that year. And yesterday, the sun's right, and she's sitting in the dugout, and I was like, hey, Aaliyah, are you doing anything right now? And she was like, nope. So she comes on the field, and 3 minutes later, we have this stunning photo of her with the sunset, la la la. So, like, is my gear needed? 100%. But do I have that great relationship and rapport with Aaliyah that got me that photo and got her on the field to trust me? Absolutely. So I think I would lean towards the person, but also the gear helps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're getting that shot with a disposable camera.
Right. And we all have them. All photographers have them, but I don't think
100%.
we're getting that.
I mean, listen, there's something to be appreciated about the grain and natural look of film.
Right.
And it always will be appreciated.
For sure. 100%.
I've always been curious, just reading and learning about you. And I know you played softball in college for a little bit. Like, why softball? What about softball has really just made you so passionate about wanting to intentionally kind of position yourself as a softball photographer, which you do bill yourself as first, and your work speaks for itself, but it's obviously dominated by softball.
Yeah, I love the game, and I've actually thought about this a lot. I think I love the game more as a photographer than I did as a player. Like, the thought of having to go do cage work for an hour and like work on hitting the inside pitch, like I didn't even like that when I was a player. Like I enjoyed playing, and I love playing defense, and I love the grind and all that kind of stuff, but like there is not really a single bone in my body that's like, man, I really miss those practices of, being in the cave, running laps. Like, they built character, and I love all that. But I loved the game, but I fell in love with it more shooting. And I just fell in love with our athletes too. I mean, they are literally the best softball players on planet Earth. And when you get to go to work every day and like watch Sierra Romero play defense, like you just can't help but love the game. Or like you watch Bubba Nichols hit and you just are in the dugout like, I should probably be shooting, but like I have to watch Bubba Nichols hit. Like I just fell in love with the game even more as a photographer, and for a lot of my career, the majority of my career, I was the only person out there with a camera, photo or video.
Right.
And I think early on I felt a sense of personal like responsibility to say, if I'm not out here shooting, I don't know who is, and so that gave me a deep connection to the game early on, and really has just given me such a sense of pride. I mean, it's crazy to think of shooting pro softball for 10 years. I mean,
yeah,
like that's just like it's crazy when you actually kind of think about it. And I find so much pride in that. And I love shooting our other sports, basketball and volleyball, but softball is where my heart is. And I've only photographed pro women. And again, I take a lot of pride in that. I wish men's sports the best, but it's not for me. Where my work is in women's sports. And that's where I feel like I'm making the greatest impact, and that's where I want to work in the future. I don't see myself anywhere else.
I love that so much, and it's so incredibly relatable too, because when you said like you're sometimes the only person there, I deeply know what that's like, because when I was at Ryder covering the women's basketball team all 4 years, very often I was the only person in a press conference.
Right.
And
exactly.
I had to ask them questions after a 30-point loss.
Right.
And oftentimes I was the only one there. Did they want to talk to me? No. Just going to give a quick shout out to Lynn Milligan. I love you so much. You're the best. Yeah.
But it means something. It really means something to those athletes, and that's what's really beautiful. And I also think when you have that conversation, you always have to stop and think of what you think of when you think of pro photography, and then erase it and think of everything else. All the D2 schools, the D3 schools, the smaller
Yep.
D1s, the high schools, the junior highs, and all the photographers and shooters that are out there working, that they don't get that recognition, and they're probably not getting a pat on the back, but like they are doing that work, and they are putting in the same hours, the same time shooting, the same time editing. And it might be a D3 swim team, but they're doing incredibly important work,
Yeah.
and it's amazing, and it's inspiring, and I just think that there's so many different levels of shooters, and we're all shooting such different things. But at the end of the day, like, if that's where you found your jam is D3 swimming or T2 swimming or whatever, like, go make it great. And that's kind of where we're all finding where we're planting our flag, and that's just kind of been my journey the last 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you, at what age did you think that photography was going to be more than just like a hobby for you? Like, was there ever a
Yeah.
moment where there was like, hey, I can make something out of this. Like, this is not just something I want to, this, like, a camera is more to me than just bringing it on a hike, which I know you
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Well, the first I did a project on photography in seventh grade of like what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I wish to God I still had that like poster presentation. I went and
Oh,
shot out
I
my old
love
soccer
that.
team, um, and then probably somewhere in the range of college where I was actually shooting a lot of college softball recruiting videos. Like I shot hundreds all over the South. So at that point, I had taken my love for softball and the business aspect of it and kind of merged them. So I think around that time was where I was like, okay, there's something else here more than just photography or shooting and more than just softball. And let's merge them to do something that I enjoy that's also somewhat of a business. I mean, when I applied to work my first year of pro softball, I called and basically begged them. So I guess maybe that was the official moment. But yeah, somewhere in college slash high school, I was like, I think this can be a thing.
For me, it was my late grandfather. May his memory be a blessing. But was there anybody in your family who gifted you your first camera, or was it solely on you?
My dad and I mean, mostly my dad at the start, but my dad and I ran a college softball camp for 10 years down in the South. And
No
this was
way.
kind of like, not before, but softball wasn't quite maybe the machine that it is now. So
Right.
this camp was like amazing. We had coaches from everywhere that would come in. And so that really gave me a kind of like an avenue to shoot some softball when I was younger and like wasn't shooting pro or anything. But also I remember like the money that I made off of that, I was able to, I mean, my first camera was the Canon Rebel. I don't know if it had a number because it was the first one. So I remember going to my local camera shop and getting a Canon Rebel. And I also had a camcorder, a very old Canon camcorder, that those were like the first things that I got. So if I had to say, I'd probably say my dad getting me that camera for making that camp happen. But
That's
yeah,
so
that was
special.
it's such a long time ago. I still have it somewhere. I plan to put it on the
Really?
shelf one day. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
love that. That's so cool.
yeah.
So something I wanted to ask, I've spoken to photographers before in like my first iteration of this, but how many cameras do you bring to a game? What's the over under?
To a game, I bring two.
Two? Okay.
I have my Canon R1. I just switched to mirrorless this year, which
Ooh.
like I was all stubborn and like grumpy about it, and then I did it, and I was like, yeah, all right, like I get it, everybody, I get it. Please don't DM me. So I
Yeah,
have
I've
the
heard
R1,
that.
and yeah, I was like, and then I have the 1DX Mark III. That's also in my bag, and then I have the 1DX Mark II and a couple of 5Ds in like a separate case. But game day, it's those two bad boys.
I know you're a gigantic Saints fan. Has there
Yes.
ever been a desire for NFL photography?
There hasn't, and I kind of equate it to like people are like I would never want to work at Disney World because like when you go to Disney World, you have the magic of Disney and all that kind of stuff. I don't think the Saints. I mean, they would look at my portfolio and be like, cool, but no thanks. But I don't think that would ever happen just because, that's a deep love that I want to keep that as my pristine hobby, even though this year
Totally.
I think we're going to be the worst team in the NFL, but that's okay. But maybe one day for fun, but no real aspirations to go to the NFL.
Hey, Emily Adams said on the podcast, the most diehard fans of teams are the ones that hate them the most. And I agree. I'd agree with that.
It's gonna be a rough year for the Houdat Nation, but my partner is an Eagles fan. She's from Philly, so
Yeah, I'm a Giants
I have
fan.
a
We're
winning
not
team
that great
to root
either.
for. Yeah, could be a rough year.
We're down bad. I mean, we just cut Tommy Cutlets.
It's good old Tommy Cutlets. Yeah, it's gonna be a real great year in the NFL for a few people, and then the rest of us, it's just gonna be brutal. But we're gonna.
Yeah,
get by.
I agree.
That's what makes us loyal.
Completely agree. I wonder if you have the same thoughts that, like, I've heard NFL photographers bring 4 to 6 cameras.
I guess that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I guess they're also working. I would assume they're working a lot quicker. Like, I have to
Maybe.
stop and edit my own images in a game, so like, I guess you're working like a little bit slower. So 4 to 6, if that's your jam. Also, too, when you shoot softball and you're in and out of a dugout like 400 times a game, like I can't be strapped because like you're just clanking into people and bats and helmets and things. So like 2 cameras is like as max as I can go. But if people are doing 4 to 6, go with God.
I've seen just some insane setups. It's like you literally look like a soldier. Like,
Yeah.
with the amount of gear that's just strapped on your body and just the added weight as well.
Yeah, the added weight, and then you got to make sure all your settings are, correct. The sun changes, but your camera number 4 is still set when it was cloudy. I need to,
Yeah.
for me to be able to focus and feel confident, I need to be kind of locked in on just those 2 cameras. Otherwise, I feel like I'm taking a lot of photos, but like I'm probably not crafting anything because that's just a lot for me. I have 2 cameras and I feel good.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, I couldn't personally see myself going over 1 camera
Yeah.
for like
Yeah,
a certain.
totally fine. Everyone,
If I'm
do
ever
your
shooting
thing,
a
go at your own
game.
speed.
Yeah, and that's something I also want to ask you about. A lot of photographers that I know are kind of like, they look to other people, and sometimes they think they're not good enough because they're not shooting at a certain level.
Right.
Do you view that as a misconception of the photography industry?
I feel like that's probably, I don't want to say all of us, but I would say that's most of us. I mean, it's really hard because I feel like what has benefited me so greatly over the years is having a really healthy sense of critique. And I'm a believer
Yeah.
that photographers should absolutely be able to look at their work critically and to identify their strengths and weaknesses. I focus much more on my weaknesses than I do my strengths. But I do somewhat think it's healthy. I think I could look at studio shoots on Instagram and tell you, I want to do that, I want to do that, I need to be better at this, I would love to level up to this. And
Yeah.
I think for me, that's how I've grown. But I don't look at someone that's got, infinite resources and infinite experience and infinite accessibility and compare myself to them because that's just not realistic. But
Totally.
I think it's healthy. I think where, I try and really draw the line is looking at the content or like the life other photographers are living, because some photographers out there just look like they are living the greatest life known to man, crushing it,
Yeah.
all these things. And that's where I'm like, great for them and their stuff is good, but I'm doing the thing I need to do right now at the pace that I need to go with the scope that I need to be at, and I'm cool with that. But we definitely tend to be a little bit hard on ourselves, but I think that's served me well over the years.
Yeah, the reason I asked the question is I mean I've seen this discourse on Twitter over the years where people will be like, I'm only shooting high school sports. I'm not as good as somebody else shooting college, or whether it's D3, oh, I'm not as good as that D1 photographer. It's like, I don't think that's necessarily true. Like, I think you need to just dominate the level that you're at.
Right, exactly. And it's really interesting too because, and this might be like a bit of a hot take, but I feel like with social media and with being able to see so many different types of photography and having the accessibility to be able to see that, like I just think sometimes we need to be realistic. Like kind of like joked earlier, if I were to send the NFL my resume, like although I think I'm a great photographer, like I don't have football in my resume. I don't shoot football. I don't have any experience shooting football. I don't have any plans to shoot football. So like to me, it's not realistic that the NFL would like look at me and say, yeah, we want to hire you. In the same way, we have people contact us at Athletes Unlimited all the time saying, hey, I want to shoot for Athletes Unlimited, but nothing on their resume or their work experience or anything like that would really fit the bill. So it's just kind of
that makes sense.
It's just interesting. And again, I think that goes back to critique on being able to look at yourself and say, here's where I'm at, and here's where I thrive, and here's my experience. That's where I'm gonna live, and that's where I'm gonna be. That's where I'm gonna again kind of plant my flag.
Yeah, absolutely, and that makes perfect sense. It's more about like yourself as the individual, right, and like your own path as opposed to like worrying about others, and that's what you've done over your career. So something I also saw that was really interesting is you have shot a lot of photos that have made it on trading cards.
It is the most insane thing. If you can see this thing behind me, there's like a whole bunch of them in there. It's honestly completely crazy, and I say it's like the top three things of just head explodes out of my career. And it's funny because back in 2020 when we announced that we were partnering with Topps with Athletes Unlimited, like I had been on calls where they mentioned it and I like knew about it and I heard it go into my brain, but like I didn't think about it. And then all of a sudden they put the press release with the mock-ups of the cards and I was like, wait, hold on, what is happening? Like it finally clicked that like we were moving so fast and I wasn't paying attention, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, and I own a lot of Topps cards and it's absolutely insane and the coolest thing ever.
Were you a collector growing up at all? Like
I did when I was a kid. I would say like pretty casually. I was not like some expert collector, but I was a kid during, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, the Astros, Craig Biggio. I was a big fan of all those guys. So I had a whole slew of trading cards that I just thought were kind of cool to have. But when you grow up in the baseball softball community, you have a pretty good grasp and understanding of what Topps is, and that's just completely, absolutely insane. And yeah, I mean, I've got so many over the years, and it's so amazing because I was with a lot of these pro athletes back before Athletes Unlimited, back when we were in other pro leagues and other pro teams that were just you can't even compare the two. And then to now, to be able to see those same athletes on a Topps card in an autograph line after a game and some cute little 10-year-olds getting it signed. I mean, it's just like, it's like tears on the spot of how amazing it is and just how unbelievably cool it is. I will forever be indebted to Topps.
I know you said you had, you overheard like some of those conversations and such, but do you have the memory of like getting the first card with your picture on it, or a picture that you shot on it?
Yeah, I do. It was in that first season of 2020. So I think we probably got them around the fall of that year. And I remember opening up the first pack, and it was Aubrey Monroe, who's one of my closest friends, and I got her parallel card, so I think it was like blue, and I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. Like it was so amazing to like actually open the packs. And then since then, I have a niece who's 6, who's the love of my life, and like taking her to Target with me to go buy the Topps cards in store is just like, absolutely crazy. Opening packs with her and my dad, and yeah, it has continued to be one of the most amazing experiences year after year.
Did it click with you immediately that like, hey, that's my photo?
Probably. I mean, back then I was the only photographer for a while, so like there
Yeah.
wasn't anyone else's photos that it could have been. But
Right.
yeah, I think it was a realization of like these are my pictures, and also like oh my gosh, almost like a proud mom moment with our athletes, where you're like you are Aubrey, you're on a tops card. Like yeah, it was just a lot of emotions all at once.
That's so cool. I
Yeah,
love that
it's
so
pretty
much.
awesome. I've got so many at home.
That's amazing. Have you ever graded a card?
Funny you should say that. Is I plan on doing that. Actually, I have on my to-do list today and tomorrow to send some in to get graded. So
No
yeah,
way.
you really got me on that one. Yeah, for sure. I haven't done it yet. I've had other people send me photos of like getting their AU cards graded, but yeah, I'm about to do that for the first time.
Imagine if like PSA does. I mean, I don't know who you're going with, but imagine if PSA doesn't grade your card a 10. It's like it's literally mine. How could you say it's not a 10?
I'm gonna be like, look, you could rate it up 3, and I'm gonna be super excited about it. I
I
mean, I
mean,
hope so.
yeah,
Fingers crossed.
still, but like, buddy, it's my photo. How could you not give it a 10?
You know what? My only gripe with tops, this is we were just talking about this at the game last night with the staff. I've ordered probably 20 or 30 cards this season because it's tops on demand. I
Yeah,
have not gotten a single autograph or like a parallel or anything. I'm like, I want to wave the flag to tops and be like, please just send me one. I just want one of them. It's all
that's
right. It's all right. I
hysterical.
can't complain. I can't complain.
No, for sure. That's so funny. I love that. So
Yeah.
we were talking before we started recording about like how you have a little bit of downtime and now you're a huge Game of
Yeah.
Thrones fan. What are some of your non-photography hobbies? Like what do you want to do when you can't look at a screen anymore or mess around with the lighting of a photo?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. I love hiking national parks. I try to do that every year, so I'm a big hiker. Both the actual hiking part, but the photography part is just really nice to do something other than sports. I'm a big movie person, particularly like World War II stuff. In books, I love reading. I love reading, reading and watching anything that has to do with World War II, or really kind of any military films. I don't know why I love it, but I do.
Anybody in your family in the military?
Nope, nope. Just love. Well, I lied. My grandfather was in the Navy, but as far as like immediate
Yeah.
kind of like growing up or anything, he was in the Navy right after the war. But yeah, I just feel like there's some of the best filmmaking and some of the best storytelling. So I love watching them. I've been really into documentaries lately, so again, really just kind of with the TV. But I lap swim almost every day. I love swimming. And I love my niece and nephew. I try and go home and run around with those two rugrats. We'll be going to the pumpkin patch pretty soon. So
Yay.
spending a lot of time with them just in the middle of the chaos.
Big pumpkin seed fan or where do we stand on that?
No, I don't know. We just go, and it's like one of those pumpkin things where they've got like all the different playthings and activities, and it's in the South because I'm from the South, so it's like
Yeah,
100 degrees outside when you're trying to
sure.
like fall it up. But yeah, we always have a blast. We go every year. Shout out Chunky, Mississippi at the pumpkin patch.
Woo.
Yeah.
Gotta get a southern pumpkin.
A southern, is that a thing? Just a
I
southern
don't know.
pumpkin?
I'm just thinking a pumpkin from the South. All I've ever gotten are pumpkins from Jersey.
I wonder if they're different. I wonder if there's actually something different.
So my aunt and uncle and I had a debate about corn, and it's like there's a
Okay.
very big difference between New Jersey corn and New York corn.
Oh,
I mean, like they think New York corn is sweeter. I
okay.
can, I don't really know. There's a difference. I just like corn.
Yeah, the
I think
only
it's
the only
good.
comparison that I could offer would be crawfish. I mean,
Oh well, yeah.
you Louisiana crawfish, my mom will not cook with Chinese crawfish. I mean, they're usually a little redder and they taste different. And my mom is like, she refuses. Now my sister has no morals. She will happily cook with Chinese crawfish, but yeah, that's really the only comparison that I could offer up of really caring about a difference.
No, for sure. I mean, I went to Maryland for grad school, so I was exposed to a lot of crab and just
Okay.
crab dip
Yep.
down in Maryland.
Yep.
And I, while I was still in school, I came back to Jersey, and we were at the beach in Ocean City, and I ordered crab fries, thinking there would be crab dip on the fries. No, it was just chunks of crab meat.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
like, this is not what I expected. And
Was it
my
at least
dad's,
good?
no, it was terrible. And my dad's like, well, now you're going to deal with it. And I'm like, fine. And I remember texting all of my friends down in Maryland. I'm like, yeah, we don't do it up here.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
And
no, I had crawfish in Houston once, and it was a horrible experience. No offense, Houston.
really,
It was at a restaurant. It was so terrible. Also, my personal theory is if
sure,
you serve crawfish with a dip, you didn't do it right. You should be able to
really,
just, you shouldn't need a dip for crawfish. Like,
yeah,
I'm not hating personal theory. Don't come at me. But yeah, if you have to serve it with dip, you didn't season them right.
yeah. No, that's fair. I that's definitely fair. It's funny. I'm not even that big of a seafood person.
Ooh, that's not a life I want to live. I'm so sorry. I will do
Don't
seafood
be.
all day, every day. That's where my heart is.
If you what's your last meal? What's like
My
your
mom's
meal, or
barbecue
not your
shrimp.
last meal, rather like what's a meal that
Yeah,
you're what's the only meal you could ever have if you'd never eaten anything again?
my mom's barbecue shrimp. She gets jumbo fresh shrimp. It goes in a pan, and then there's all this sauce that goes in it, and then she makes two trays, and you put them in the oven, or you let it marinate overnight. You put it in the oven, and then you flip them, and then you serve it with tons and tons of French bread that you dip in the sauce. I mean,
Oh, that's
literally,
amazing.
it is the greatest meal on planet Earth. Shout out to my mom because it's the best thing that you will ever eat.
Oh, see, like I don't
Yeah,
even like shrimp, but now I want it.
I promise you, you want it's the greatest thing. I have many pictures on my Instagram of my mom's barbecue. Shout out Patty.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that. I mean,
yeah,
I'll try anything once, not literally, but like legitimate food categories, like
yeah,
yeah, I'll try anything once. And then if I regret it, I regret it. That's on me.
yeah.
But
It's worth it.
yeah, for sure. So there's two questions I've been really wanting to ask you. I don't have you ever done a photo gallery like in an exhibit before?
No, actually, that's a great question. I had two career dreams that I wanted to accomplish. One was to go to the Olympics, and I was lucky enough that happened
I
pretty early
saw.
on. And so I got to cross that one off. And the next is to have a gallery or an exhibit show. I always say in New York City, but really I would take it anywhere.
Sure.
But I love going to museums. I love going to art museums, and I love seeing giant artwork. And I'll be that person that has my phone, and I'll do the measurements because like I want to see what size people are like painting and printing in. And I
That's
have like
funny.
I have a notes thing that has like where I was, how big it was, and like all that kind of stuff. But
For
I've
your own
always
specs.
wanted to. Yeah, yeah. I'm like I need to know, and I truly think that like Cat Osterman should be on a 6 foot print for the world to see. I feel
Hmm.
like I want these athletes shown in their greatness, and I want a 12-year-old little girl to walk up to a 6 foot picture of Cat Osterman and just be blown away at Cat or insert any of our athletes. I mean, it
Is
is
she 6 foot?
literally a dream.
Is that
Cat
would
Cat's
that be a
what, six
realistic?
two? Yeah, so it would be realistic. So somewhere in that range. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a dream. It's absolutely a dream, and I would love for it to happen. I'm trying to be patient with it and know that it'll come at the right time. But yeah, it's absolutely a career, lifelong dream.
Yeah. So the reason I asked that question leads me to like the other first part of the question I wanted to ask, which was what if you were to do a gallery, or excuse me, when you do your gallery, because this is happening, we are manifesting this.
I love it.
what would you hope people would learn about you specifically, Jade Hewitt, from looking at like a gallery of your photos?
That is maybe one of the best questions I've ever been asked. I've never been asked that question. What I would hope that someone could tell by looking at the gallery or the collection as a whole is my devotion to softball. I mean, I've gone, if you walk through and you see an exhibit of all surf images, right, from years and years and years, you go, dang, that shooter, that was a surfer shooter. Like they devoted their career to that. And that's what I hope someone would take away. If they took away something from me, it would be that, we have football, we have baseball, we have basketball, we have all these huge leagues, but there's someone out there that devoted their entire career to softball. That's all I would need. I mean, that's the truth. And that I'm so proud of that. And I hope that someone would just go, holy cow, someone devoted their entire career to photographing softball. That's crazy. And that's perfect. That's all I would hope that someone would take away.
I love that so much. Shit, I don't even want to. I want to ask the last question that I ask everybody at the end of every episode. But man, that was such like an awesome answer, like so genuine and pure.
Let's
love
see if
that.
we can top it. I don't know. Maybe we won't, but let's see.
Well, I mean, I have gotten that. The majority of people have not heard the question that I do end every episode with, and nobody's asked them it before, but. Jade Hewitt, professionalism aside, like just about you as a person, what do you like most or admire about yourself?
Man, you are really coming for the questions. That is amazing. What do I admire the most about myself? I would think my sense of conviction. Conviction in what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with, whether it's personal or professional. I really idolize Marie Colvin, foreign war correspondent, and I look at the conviction in which she did her work, and where the work that she was doing was everything, and that she poured every ounce that she had into her work. And I try to do the same with work, but also in personal life and in relationships and friendships and family and to wake up every day and live with the same mission and I mean, I guess that's a much easier question to answer when it comes to professionally, but that every day I approach what I'm doing with an unbelievable conviction to be great and to do great work.
I love that. I think that's amazing.
That was kind of emotional.
Oh, well, I'm glad it stoked something then.
Yeah. Well, great. That was awesome.
Jade, it's so great to talk to you. I'm super excited to see your work for the rest of the season and for the other seasons that are coming in the future. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. And look, before we go, I just want to say thank you to the people out there that are devoting their time and their effort and their energy to everyone that's not the athlete, to everybody else that surrounds sports, that works in sports, that you're willing to take the time to tell our story, and people like you really keep the wheels turning on all this. And just thank you for everything that you do for the sports world, and for highlighting us and telling our stories, because it really means a lot to us. It means everything.
But damn, now you're gonna make me cry.
We'll both in this podcast crying.
I was gonna say, it's not even lunchtime yet.